Alright, here we go. So, what this is going to be a basic control tutorial for how to play some of the older Armored Core games, like on mostly the PS2 era, with the classic control style. Here we're playing Armored Core 2, just the vanilla version. Another Age was the first one that I started playing, and personally I feel that's one of the best balanced games out of the PS2 era. But anyway, let's get straight to it. So, basic controls coming out the gate. If you look at the D-pad kind of controls, you go forward by pressing up, back by pressing down. And this little dude here, I just wasted his ammo just dodging around for a little bit to have a good clear area to make this video at. Now left and right, they turn you, and as you can see it's very slow. It's not very good at all. Good way to eat some missiles or some rockets. And then you can kind of hold forward and turn at the same time. I'll kind of get into that's not really a preferred way of operating anything. So that's basically the D-pad controls. If you go to the R1 trigger, that lets you strafe right. L2 trigger, strafe left. Now R2, you hold it down, it'll move your aiming reticle down. You held L2, it'll move it up. You press L2 and R2 at the same time, it'll snap you right back to the center. So, let's see, X button. So as you've got two functions of the X button. You can use your booster, and you can kind of boost, jump with all the different directions. And one thing that I think a lot of people don't know about, if you let go of everything and you just tap the X button, you'll jump, which will become very useful when you're doing overboost pretty soon, or if you're completely out of energy gauge. So let's get into how not to play the game. A lot of people will just kind of stick to the basic controls, and if this guy had full ammo, he'd be just eating away my AP like crazy right now. The big thing that you want to do in these old Armored Core games is boosting. Boosting will change the entire feel, the entire realm of the game. So when you're basically going forward, you can boost by holding X, and as you go, your energy bar is kind of depleting. One thing I want to talk about here is if I just let go of the boost, you break, which isn't very efficient when you're fighting, when you're going really fast. So a better way to do that, and this is going to be a foundational skill, is you're going to boost and hop. So you just tap the X button as you're going, and that'll basically keep that break from happening. That's one of the biggest things. You want to keep that break from happening the entire time you're playing. Sometimes it comes in handy, like if you want to be going right here and I want to stop below cover, but most of the time you can even just kind of do that and just control it as normal. Hard landing. So when you come up really high in the air, if you just let your guy fall, bam, or really hard break. If your enemy's got his target on you, you're going to be taking a lot of damage there. So say you get really high up, as you're coming down, just kind of like that. Just kind of boost it down, break that fall. That becomes really imperative when you're doing higher boost jumps. Let's see. This next move I kind of call counter strafing. So you strafe to the left, but you turn to the right. Pretty much when you're fighting and you're backpedaling, which is going backwards like so, I find like 95% of the time I'm holding right trigger and left direction, or left direction, or left trigger and right direction. I'm always kind of going opposite of each other, kind of like so. There's a time when you can kind of do both, so left and left at the same time. But I feel like it's better to keep facing forward when you're turning. Gives you a better idea of what's going on out there. Let's see. So what's some buttons we haven't covered yet? So that's pretty much the movement. Let's go over Overboost real quick before I get to some of the weapons. So when you hold the R2 button down or give it a tap, you're going to open up your Overboost and kind of like same amount of maneuverability, just a little bit tighter because you're going so fast. One technique I showed off in my earlier video back like 10 years ago was that you can do an overboost glide. So basically what you do, remember no buttons hold down, that'll give you your jump, overboost, jump, turn the overboost off, and you've got all that momentum and you're not using any of your energy gauge. So as soon as you turn, or I think, let me see, as soon as you hit up or down while you're gliding, it'll completely stop your momentum. So that's a really good way. Say like we're here, we've been boosting a lot, battle's getting really heated, I'm in the red right now, I'm really close to bottoming out and I need to get out of there. So I'll do that, I'll jump, and I'll just glide. And as you see, I just burnt out my overboost gauge. So here's a good thing to do. You are still mobile when you have no energy, as long as you keep jumping. And remember, the big thing with jumping is let go of everything else, hit X, and you'll hop. Now this way you can kind of regain your bounds until your boost comes back. It'll save you a lot. Let's see. Alright, let's get down to some of the weapons. So this one's basically pretty early in the game. I don't have a lot of equipment on. I just have like basic weapons. I have a missile and a rifle and a sword. So square button fires the right hand weapon. Circle fires the left hand weapon, which is normally swords in the older games like 2 through 3. So one thing I want to talk about, triangle changes. So I went from rifle to back weapon, back to rifle, back weapon. So say that I completely used up my missiles and I want to get rid of it, it'll give me some more energy capacity. You hit all 4 triggers and you tap the triangle button, I think. Maybe that's in the newer games like Armored Core 3. Anyway, one thing with I like rifles because you can apply the mechanics of rifles to pretty much machine guns, laser weapons, rockets. I call it bullet tracking. So see how I'm keeping the enemy, we're both going left, and I'm keeping them to the left of the reticle. Most of the time that'll allow you to get pretty good accurate shots, because if you're over here, your shots will overshoot and probably won't hit, just like so. So depending on what direction you're going, so you want to kind of keep, if you're going right, keep the enemy to your right side of your reticle. Alright, so the cool thing is blade tracking. This is way better in Armored Core 3. I think it's not as good in Silent Mind, I'm not sure. But basically, you want to hit the blade while you're in the air, and it will kind of auto-track towards the enemy. And if you get good at it, you can land off some pretty decent blade hits. I'm not too concerned with that at the moment. So yeah, I think that's pretty much the basics on everything. Hope this video was helpful. Planning on making a couple more. Let me know if there's anything else you want to talk about, have me covered. Might be doing a Let's Play at some point too. So yeah, go have fun with probably one of the best mech fighting generational games ever made, Armored Core.